Hello, hi, welcome back to my course on enhancing soft skills and personality. We are on the 6th week, 4th unit and lesson number 29. This lesson I am going to introduce to you another very interesting and practically beneficial topic, that is on money and personality. Now, the title itself looks little bit odd. I will come to why I kept the title. But before we go there, let us take a quick look at what I did in the previous lesson, that was about using humor in the workplace. Now, in the previous lesson, we discussed about the importance of humor in the workplace, and I discussed that apart from problem solving, humor can help in removing conflicts and minimize stress, increase productivity and connect people. Humor also helps one to become popular, whether in personal life or in the workplace, gain more friends and retain one's job against all odds. It was found out that mostly the people who lack in humor are not able to retain their jobs, because any slight problem in the job becomes a major unsurmountable problem, and then they get depressed about it and eventually they quit, and the quitters keep quitting jobs one after another, and the ultimate reason is that they lack in this sense of humor. So, it is important that you develop humor to enjoy your job as well as your career. When you begin a meeting, for example, or a presentation in the job situation with a joke, with a very interesting anecdote, it makes the audience relate to you easily. It can break the serious environment and it can prepare the audience, and most of your hostile audience also tend to become friendly when you start with a light-hearted note by introducing humor. Now, overall, after discussing the benefits, I gave some tips as how you can actually bring in this added improvement in the workplace by use of humor. I gave many suggestions. Some of the important ones are as follows. You should have a notice board for displaying good jokes. Okay. In fact, you can even announce the joke of the day, the joke of the month, the joke of the year, and then you can even conduct best humorist, best cartoonist competition, and then you can display the best ones, keep a record of them, and then you can show it to guests, and then you can always display it in the front reception areas where people get a good impression about your office or the corporate environment. In get-togethers, you can have a planned session for humor-based activities. This will make new colleagues come out of their shell, break the ice, mingle with the senior colleagues, and then make people relate to each other in a very lively manner. Within the office environment, you can also introduce something like publishing a magazine of jokes and anecdotes, cartoons. Occasionally even you can invite eminent comedians who can come and then humor your colleagues. Within the office environment, you can arrange for comic movie shows, or you can even just collect the best comic scenes from various movies and then you can show them. You can also form a humor club. You can have a humor hall. You can have a committee to maintain that hall, run this club, and what these people will do is collect all these interesting jokes and anecdotes and cartoons and any thing that will evoke laughter, fun, and they will put them in the humor hall, and in that sense the humor hall functions like a library, a repository of keeping all these ones together. And the most important thing is, sometimes you allow your colleagues to come for get-togethers, especially with their children as well as their pet animals. The reason why they should come with their children and pet animals, in fact, when they come with them, you should try to arrange for some separate events for the pet animals, for the children, so that you know how you can evoke humor in a spontaneous manner, because they say that it is with regard to children and pet animals, spontaneity gets generated. So, if you learn how to play with them, if you learn how to humor them, okay, because you cannot just make a small child laugh for your jokes. So, you have to actually go to their level, you have to bring in that real innate humor in you to actually humor the small child also. So, occasionally when you keep in touch with small children and then pet animals, it is believed that it actually brings that innate humor in you and keeps you and your colleagues in good humor. Now, that is what we discussed in the last one. Now, let us actually move to this topic that we have for today, which is quite interesting and, as I said, quite beneficial: money and personality. Now, it sounds a little bit odd to join money, the material, with personality, the human. So, money and personality, so it looks like they are polar opposites and then they are violently put together. But I have done it deliberately, because the point I want to make here is that in the contemporary world that has become highly materialistic, human beings have become money minded personalities. Money has penetrated human personality, and in fact the personality is just judged, determined by the ability to have money, possess as much wealth as possible. So, human relationships are determined by the material worth, that is the wealth and the properties of a person. However, people also weigh a personality in terms of the way a person handles money. Now, this is where money is relevant in terms of enhancing your soft skills and personality. It is not just the money that you have, but how you deal with money and how you behave in terms of money, and how is your character assessed in terms of money, are the things which are relevant for improving your soft skills. Now, to warm you up and then introduce some concepts, what I am going to do is to ask you some probing questions. Think over them. It is not just yes or no, but you may even write some phrases, pause the video, do not be in a hurry to go to the next question, even you think over it and write. It is like a diary writing experience where you are prompted with some questions. You think about you seriously and try to give me honest answers. The more honest you are, it will try to reveal your real personality and make improvements. So, let us start going to the questions and trying to address these questions and try to give genuine answers. Assessing your money personality. So, I will start asking the questions and then give you some time to think over the questions, and then I will also respond to the questions. The first one that I would like to ask is this: how many relationships you maintain with those who have less income than you? Relationships could be with friends, relatives, colleagues, neighbors, etc., but with those people who have less income than you. So, which means like you are in a sense richer than those people, and are you able to maintain relationship, healthy relationship with these people, and if so, how many are there? The next question: is your body language changing when you meet very rich people? So, you might have seen, like, sometimes when people meet those who are richer than them, so the behavior changes. I will talk more about later, but right now you need to think whether you are that kind of person, yes or no, and then yes, how, no, why do not you do that? The next question: Are you becoming aggressive when beggars annoy you? That is, people who are poor and then living in poverty, and then when they have come to the level of begging, and when they come to beg you and they repeatedly ask you for some alms, do they annoy you and do you get irritated, angry, and then you become aggressive and shout at them? The next one, in a big function, let us say huge function, and celebrities have come, rich people are there, do you treat the rich and the modest differently? So, the modest are the normal, let us say the lower and upper middle class people, and then let us say the high class people, the affluent people. So, do you treat, whether it is your function or somebody else's function, do you treat these people differently? And in a party, do you want others to see you hanging out with the rich people? So, this means like you will just look for people who are rich and then you will go chat with them, have food with them, or have some drinks with them, but you want everybody to notice that you are seen with this kind of circle. So, do you do that, yes or no, and then think about why you are doing this. Let us continue with the assessment. Do you avoid people who have low means of income? So, when you see people with low means of income, you try to run away from them. Okay. Next question, what is the minimum balance you need to have with you to feel secured? Whether in your pocket, whether in your bank balance, how much money do you need to have so that you feel secured? The next question is interesting. Can you survive without money in a strange place? Let us say you have gone out, especially completely a new place, an alien country, a foreign place, and then somebody pickpocketed everything, took your bag, your credit card, everything is lost, and you are just on the road, no money, nothing. And you did not wear any costly jewelry or anything by which you can get some money. So, nothing is there with you. Can you survive? Okay. If you cannot survive in a strange place, can you survive without money in familiar surroundings? Like there could be days in which you just forget to take your wallet, purse, handbag to your office, to your neighbor vicinity, to the nearby mall or shopping center where you go to buy something and then you forget that you did not go there with the money. Can you survive in such situation? And the next set of questions, can people trust you with money? So, somebody is going somewhere and coming back. So, in the meanwhile the person wants you to keep some huge amount of money. Can you keep it safely? Or can somebody ask you to carry the money on their behalf and give it to someone? Can people request you to keep their money for some time without any commitment on paper? Can you be entrusted with a huge amount of money, huge in the sense like 10,000 times than your annual salary? That much money, can somebody give it to you and trust you? Are there people to give guarantee on your behalf? Like if you are borrowing something or signing a deed in which there is a commitment in terms of money, are there people to give you that guarantee on your behalf? Which means like if you do not pay the money, so the guarantors will be willing to pay that on your behalf. Are there people for you? And then if somebody says I can guarantee for you up to 5 lakhs. Somebody says I can do that only for 1 lakh, but somebody says I can even do it for crores of rupees for you. So, what is the maximum limit a person can give guarantee for you? Just honestly ask yourself, think about a person who has that much trust on you, and even that trust level, how much a person can really guarantee. And look at it from the other side. Can people borrow money from you? Will it be easy to borrow money from you? Can people borrow? Do people return the money in promised time? So, people take money, say that they will return it in a week. Do they come and give it to you in that week's time, or do they think that they can cheat you? Have you ever forgotten the money somebody owes you? So, you keep forgetting and you forgot to ask people. And then another set of questions from another perspective. Have you borrowed money from others? Have you taken money from others? Can you borrow any amount of money you need easily from others? Any amount of money. Can you borrow easily from others? And can people give you money without interest? I have put interest within double quotes to indicate both the interest that you will get out of money and without any mutual interest. That is, I give you money, but you do me this favor, okay, you give me this. So without expecting anything in return. Are there people to give you money without interest? And have you returned the money in time? Have you returned the money without any reminder, or do you return money only if the lender abuses you, humiliates you in the public, shouts at you? And do you enjoy cheating others in terms of money? Example, going to a restaurant and making others to pay the bill. Next one, do you avoid borrowing money from others to the maximum extent possible? And if you borrow in inevitable circumstance, do you rest only after you pay the amount? Which means you feel restless, anxious, and then you feel burdened till you give back the amount. Another set of questions, do you always save money and can afford to give some for charity or for needy people? Do you always run short of money? Do you find it difficult to make both ends meet? So, you don't know how the income is coming, but the expenditure is higher than the income. It's difficult to manage this income and then expenditure. But do you know where your money goes? Do you know how you spend this money? And do you think you can control the expenses once you know where your money goes? Those were the questions that I wanted to put in order to prepare you for a mindset to know how to handle your money and learn how to respect others' money and value people not in terms of money but in terms of the real worth. Your honest answers to the above questions will help you analyze your money personality and make appropriate changes. Let's now look at the questions and the answers in a sense that they are relative, but still the most appropriate answers that you need to keep in your mind, and in case you have deviated so much, then you need to make appropriate modifications to reach the level that is suggested in terms of answers. Look at the first question, like how many relationships you maintain with those people who have less income than you. Now here, the more you have, the number indicates your emotional balance and mental maturity. It really needs emotional balance and mental maturity to maintain people who have less income, because you have already learnt that money is not the determining factor in relationship. And the ability to maintain good relationships with both the rich and the poor indicates high emotional and spiritual intelligence, but the less you have, so indicates problems in terms of your own emotional balance and mental maturity. So, this is something that you should keep in mind, and if you have less, try to increase this number and try to maintain the balance. Is your body language changing when you meet very rich people? It should not change. You should be the normal, spontaneous person. But if it changes, it reflects the greedy mentality. It reflects like the inherent greediness that you want to be like this other person, and it just comes naturally to you. So, you want to please this person. It is like they say mammon worship, that is worshipping money. So, just like when you see God or when you see something divine, so you try to show respect. So, just like the way when you see a representation of money, then you just your body language changes, and then you want to please the other person and pay a lot of respect, irrespective of the fact that the person may not be ethically good, not appreciable in terms of soft skills, good human qualities, but your only consideration for this man is the money that the person has, and your body language changes automatically. Okay. So, it should not, and you have to be controlled, restrained in this sense in order to develop your soft skills, because people watch these changes very closely. And are you becoming aggressive when beggars annoy you? Actually, you shouldn't. You are in a better position, but that does not mean that you should be aggressive and then you should feel annoyed. What you need to show is empathy, sympathy if possible, but not or never aggression. And in a big function, do you treat the rich and the modest differently? And in a party, do you want others to see you hanging out with the rich people? Do you avoid people who have low means of income? Now, all indicate lack of emotional intelligence, and people note this change, not necessarily the poor people, even the rich people. Okay. The rich people note this. They know that you are treating them differently from the modest ones, the poor ones. Now, this on the one hand pleases some of them, but there are people on the other hand who know how to manipulate you. So, who realize that you change with these people and they know how to use you, and they are not going to keep you in high regard just because you are changing their behavior for them. They know that you are like a chameleon and then you will keep changing, and if you are changing your behavior for this person, and this person knows very well that when somebody who is richer than this person comes, your behavior will change again when you confront the other person who is richer. So, all these things are noted not only by the people who are poor, but also the rich. And then what is the minimum balance you need to have with you to feel secured? Now, if you have possessed very good soft skills, and if you have good character, integrity, this may sound ridiculous, unbelievable. Actually, the balance, whether it is 0 or very high, will not matter much to you, will not give you low self-esteem if the bank balance is low. And then, can you survive without money in a strange place? Again, as I said, much depends on your skills, whether it is familiar surroundings or in a strange place. Money is not the only one that is going to determine who you are. In situations where you have lost money, you first need to calm yourself and rely on you, your hard and soft skills, intelligence, good qualities, ethical values. In case you have not read Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, I suggest you read this just to see how the author is trying to indicate how money is not something that is determining your real worth, and it is not the one that is needed for developing your personality. The shepherd boy Santiago survives in 2 or 3 occasions where he loses everything, all his hard earned money, and then is left in a new place where he does not learn the language. He does not even know how to speak and convey that his money has been lost, but in that place he again learns how to earn money using his hard skills as well as soft skills. He is very good natured, very polite, and very much obliging to do any kind of work that is given to him. So, that kind of positive attitude, thinking, so that helps him to get a job, gain more money than what he lost, and move to the next level in his life. So, the novel through a parable tries to tell you that only when you rely on money than you will feel completely devastated. But on the other hand, if you realize that money is not the one that is determining you, but there is something in you, okay, that will determine you. So, then you will not be perturbed even if you lose money. So, that is something that you need to develop, and when you have these qualities in you, so you will never feel lost. There are again fictional characters. I remember a character by Dostoevsky. There is a young boy, and this young boy has possessed so virtuous qualities that anybody who sees him would like to take him to his or her home and feed him. So, the author says that he is a person who will never be poor, who will never be without food, because there are plenty of people to take care of him just because of his good qualities. Okay. So, it is like important that on the one hand, when this materialistic world is trying to delude us with the belief that money is everything, so you need to counter that with these kind of stories which are rich in moral values, and try to affirm faith in yourself that you have things, okay, which are there in you, whether money stays with you or not. Now, the next important set of questions: can people trust you with money? Can people request you to keep their money for some time without any commitment on paper? Can you be entrusted with a huge amount of money? Are there people to give guarantee on your behalf? And what is the maximum limit, or is there any limit? Now, the answer to these questions will tell all about your integrity and credibility in terms of money. If you said yes to most of the above questions, you are already credit worthy. You are a very credible person, trustworthy person. People can rely on you. I remember as warden to one of the halls in IIT Kanpur, I had to give money to one person who is supposed to organize a major cultural event. So, the money is in terms of lakhs, and then I had past experiences where some of the other organizers took money and then they forgot to submit bills in time, or I had to run after them, remind them. So, I had this kind of stereotypical thinking that these coordinators, you should not trust them with money and you should not give it to them. But when this particular person was to be entrusted with lakhs of rupees, I wanted to know whether I could actually give that much money, and I was having doubt. By the time there is a very highly reliable senior person called me, and then he said that I can give this guy any amount of money and then he will return it in the time that is specified. And then I got another phone call from Dean saying that I need not worry about giving money to this person because he is very highly trustworthy. Now later I didn't meet the student, so the money was sent through another staff, but I met the student after the event was over and the money was submitted, and then I praised the student, that coordinator student, by saying that this is something that he has earned, but not through money, but by his integrity and character which he has built over time. And I told him to continue with that kind of thing, that ability that people are guaranteeing him without even any written document, and to me, somebody who doesn't even know him, and there are people who are willing to give guarantee to unknown people about this person. So what is it that made these people give that guarantee, assurance? It's just the way he behaved in the past instances. Maybe 1000 rupees was given and he returned in time, then it was 10,000, then it reached 50, and then lakhs of rupees. Now they really feel they can trust with this person. So even if you break this chain at one point, then people will lose trust. Okay, so that is why it's very important to develop this. And then the fact that people can trust you with money is not something that is given to you by money, but it's something that is given to you by your own intrinsic values which you have developed. And then the next set of questions, like, can people borrow money from you? Do people return the money in promised time? Do they think that they can cheat you? Have you ever forgotten the money somebody owes you? Now, can people borrow money from you? In the sense, so easily. They know that they can come and then get money from you. And then they know that they need not return money to you. Okay. And they even know that they can even cheat you, because they know that you will forget the money that you gave. You might have given 1000 and they can come and say, I am returning the 500 to you. And you think it was 1000, but you are afraid of clearing that, and then you are not very sure about that, and then they gave 500. And you were afraid of asking this, maybe because of your passive personality. You don't assert. Okay. And then in order to maintain relationship and thinking that you don't hurt the other person, just keep quiet. Now these traits indicate how people perceive you in terms of your money personality, whether you are naive, innocent, can be fooled easily, that you are a less assertive person, or you won't dare to ask for money, etc. Now if you are on this extreme, again you need to change your personality profile, and then you cannot be a doormat on which people walk and then use you for their own purpose, manipulate, get money, and then they don't return it. You don't have to be so pleasing. This is again part of your assertive skills, which we have discussed already in the lecture on developing your assertiveness. But using you for money clearly indicates that you are lacking in assertiveness, which you need to develop. On the other hand, the other set of questions, have you borrowed money from others? Can you borrow any amount of money you need easily from others? Can people give you money without interest? Now all these questions call for your assertiveness and the rich emotional network you have. Have you borrowed money from others? Actually it needs some skill, assertiveness, even to put yourself in a position to ask calmly whether somebody can give you money. Okay. So instead of shying away from asking, and when you are in need and when you know that some people can really help you, and can you do that easily, okay, without any difficulty? Are there people like willing to give money to you? And then can people give you money without interest, without any expectations, without thinking that they will get that money later from you much more than what they are giving you now? So if that is there, it again indicates that you have already asserted yourself, and then you have a very rich emotional network. But in case people don't trust you, then you need to develop at this area also. The next set of questions actually are related to your own self-esteem and integrity. Have you returned the money in time? If you have done it in time and without any reminder, and in fact even reminding the other person and telling that this is the money you gave me the other day which I am returning, and the other person says, oh, I am sorry, I just forgot it and thanks for giving it to me. And in case you borrow in inevitable circumstance, do you rest only after you pay the amount? That is, you have the anxiety, you have the restlessness once the money is given to you, okay, and you think that till you pay you will not rest. So that shows your high level of integrity and commitment with regard to relationship and your own self-esteem, which is not allowing you to borrow money, and in inevitable cases if you borrowed it, it's not allowing you also not to keep it with you for more than the time required, returning it in time and maintaining a good rapport with the other person who has given the money to you. On the other hand, if you return the money only if the lender abuses you, and if the lender is not shouting at you, you don't bother, and you enjoy cheating others in terms of money, like going to a restaurant and making others to pay the bill by either by saying that you have 2000 rupee note and there is no change, or saying that you forgot to bring the purse, or some kind of pretense, lame excuses, but ensuring that somebody else pays the bill. And are you the kind, if you are thinking that you can forever try to cheat others by not returning this money? So this is not indicating that you actually have good opinion about yourself. It actually indicates a very low self-esteem and very low level of integrity, and this is very important in terms of your professional integrity, and this is something that will spread. So especially if somebody has to hire you in professional situations where finance and handling money becomes a very important factor, and if some information about you goes there that you have a very low level of integrity in terms of dealing with money and you never return the money, so you may not be even hired for the job. Okay. And even after you are hired, if this news spreads around people that you take money from colleagues and then you don't return, again people don't treat you with high esteem. And then the last set of questions, do you always save money and can afford to give some for charity or for needy people? Now if you can do so, this means that you are thrifty and you don't spend more than your income, and you always try to keep something. Okay. And then the other kind, do you always run short of money and do you find it difficult to make both ends meet? It means that you are a spendthrift. Okay. You spend more than you get and you always keep complaining that you don't have enough salary, so income is not sufficient, people are not fair. Okay. And the next question, do you know where your money goes? And if you don't know, it shows that you lack planning in terms of managing your money. If you know, it indicates that you are good in money planning. And do you think you can control the expenses once you know where your money goes? This indicates proper budgeting and accounting. So we will learn more about this in the next lecture. And how many things you have that money can't buy? We had a quick discussion about things that money can't buy in one of the previous lectures, but how many you have, like it determines the level of peace and happiness you have in your life. So things that money can't buy, like time, happiness, inner peace, integrity, love, character, manners, health, respect, moral, stress, patience, class, common sense, dignity. So now all these ones like indicate that if you have, so that actually shows that you have high level of peace and happiness in your life. Just as a concluding thought, I want to quote from William Shakespeare and from his famous play Hamlet. And in this play, he actually introduces this character Polonius, and then Polonius actually tries to give advice to his son Laertes, and then the advice that he gives, and particularly the part in which how he has to maintain relationships and money, is very valuable, and it will give a good ending to this lecture. Let me read those lines and explain to you. Although it is through Polonius, it is William Shakespeare who is talking to us through his time tested wisdom. So, this is how it goes. Those friends thou hast, which means the friends that you have, and their adoption tried, that means you have tried, tested whether they are genuine friends or false friends, and once you know that they are genuine friends, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. Okay, you bind them, hold them to your soul with hoops of steel. Okay, like you chain them with steel in your soul. But do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched unfledged comrade. Do not dull thy palm with entertainment. So, two meanings are possible here. One, do not shake hands with all those people whom you have not tried, new hatched, just newly formed acquaintance, unfledged comrade, not matured relationship. So, do not just shake hands and then spend a lot of money with these people. So, do not dull thy palm with entertainment can also mean that just entertaining these people, okay, just to have fun. So, you can ask like how much of money is spent only in maintaining these new friendships, who are there just for eating together or drinking together, and then they disappear when you are really in need of some money or you are in crisis. So, that is what he says, you if you have not tried with these people, it is not worth spending any money on these ones. The next one he says in terms of habit, costly thy habit as thy purse can buy. He says that whatever habit you have in terms of spending, so that should match according to the amount that your purse can buy. That is, do not spend, buy anything, especially in terms of dress or any materials that you want, not so expensive that you can't afford to. Buy the ones that is within your budget. That is what he says in the next one, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy. So, do not try to show off, do not try to buy things just because they are expensive and they look so gaudy. Use the ones which are simple and affordable to your income. And then he says that for the apparel oft proclaims the man. So, what you wear tells who you are. So, if you are wearing very gaudy dress, it indicates that you have lots of money to throw, and then people will mistake you. And the next advice that he gives is more valuable. He says that neither a borrower nor a lender be. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Neither give money nor take money. Why? For loan oft loses both itself and friend. The money given often loses both itself, that is money. Once you give, okay, you have to forget your money, as well as friend. You know, that is a very known wisdom that it is money, okay. So, when it is given as loan, so precious relationships will be lost, because you cannot ask back, and if the other person is not able to give it, so the relationship is spoiled. So, that is why he says, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. When you borrow, It dulls the edge of husbandry. Husbandry here refers to being thrift. So, when you borrow, so you start becoming a spendthrift. You start spending more money than what you have, especially like using credit cards and then buying things that you do not need, going to a mall and then buying whatever attracts your eyes. So, that kind of spending activity is cautioned. He says that that is not becoming of being a thrifty person. And the last is the best. He says, this above all, to thine own self be true. Above all, he says, you do not have to listen to my advice, be true to your own self. So, you as well as like we all have this moral consciousness, we know what is good, what is not good. And he says just that listen to that inner voice that tells you what is good and be true to your own self. Okay. So, with this message I just give you some quick links. If you are more interested in knowing about dealing with money, the first link I found interesting is about 19 wise money quotes. They also give more wise thoughts about how you can save money. The second one is 7 life and money lessons from Warren Buffett. I will also talk more about this in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video and have a very nice day.